Hello and welcome to the MIT LOL Club Spring Tournament Playoffs second semifinals match between Royal Rat Authority and TM8S. Wow, that was a mouthful. I'm Adam. Unfortunately, I'm solo casting today, so you just get to hear a lot of me if you're tuning in tonight. Anyways, we are into picks and bans. On the blue side, we do have Royal Rat Authority. On the purple or red side, depending, we have TM8S. Immediately, we see Rammus, Yasuo, Volibear banned away. Rammus targeted at Fluffykins, who plays pretty much just Rammus on this account at least. His main champion, as far as I know. Yasuo, meanwhile, targeted at Corvus9, who has been spamming quite a bit of it in Season 6, his most played champion. Though, in general, Corvus does seem very hard to ban out and plays a lot of carries, so I'm very curious to see what Corvus will take this time around. Meanwhile, Volibear taken away from Green Bay. Green Bay just loves those sorts of junglers where you can just run in and screw with people and just kill them. And Volibear, one of his favorite champions so far in this tournament, though he has had a lot of success on a number of other champions as well, such as, for instance, Master Yi, though probably not on this patch. This is the new patch, ladies and gentlemen. 6.9 rather than 6.8, so a lot of changes on this patch. Meanwhile, haven't even gotten through all the bans yet. Kindred also banned away, targeted at Ligophile most likely, one of his preferred junglers when he is in that jungle position. And Kale and Kennen, the final bans. Kennen, very strong on this patch, just got a pretty big buff to his ultimate. Meanwhile, Kale targeted at Pinducky, who has really been able to make that champion work recently, and as recently as, what was it, last night, or the night before, against Water Buffalo, was very strong on that champion. Meanwhile, Rise picked up in the first round by Noble Firen, probably going to the other Noble Firen, but we'll have to see. Rise could go both into the mid lane and the top lane, though I'm expecting a mid lane Rise. Pretty strong champion right now. It's not so much about getting your passive and blowing people up with massive amounts of spell slinging, but really playing around your ultimate, which is on a very short cooldown, and just getting those bursts of damage down with your passive, because it is capped at 5 spells. Meanwhile, Lucian picked up for Cruiser, very solid 80 carry. I'm very curious to see if he goes with the trending Lucian build with Ghost Blade and Black Cleaver, or the more standard Essence Reaver, Static Shiv / Rapid Fire Cannon build. Meanwhile, Elise picked up for Green Bay, his most played champion and most comfortable champion. Not a surprise to see Green Bay on that Elise. And just Elise generally a strong champion, always seems relevant, whatever the meta. That's a Sejuani pick for Ligophile, so that is one of Ligophile's preferred champions. Very strong team fighting, one of the strongest team fight initiation tools in the game if you can land it. And a Nami for Potential 5, his favored support, his most played, and very good disengage. I'm curious to see where this comp is going, because there are a few different directions it could go, and that I'm not just talking about blue champion models. Meanwhile, Janna being hovered for Fluffykins, I feel like that's mostly what we've seen Fluffykins on this tournament, at least, since the Rammus just keeps getting banned away. And an Orianna hover for Kaleido. Okay, so yeah, that is the Orianna for Kaleido. Looking for those big teamfight ultimates. I am curious to see how the Orianna works out with the new patch. Orianna did not get changed in the patch, but the items that she might build certainly did. So I'm interested to see where she goes with the new items. Maybe she'll go for one of the new Hextech items, or just the new Rod of Ages, maybe even Athene's, because it has great synergy with her shield. We will have to see. In any event, that's Jinx picked up by Noble Firen, the other Noble Firen. Sorry guys, those names are just going to be confusing the whole series, and there's not much I can do with about that. It's not my fault they picked the same name, basically. Anyways, that's a Jinx picked up. Probably going to be traded to the other Noble Fire and Corvus. Going to take the Darius. So going to take a big lane bully into the top lane. I mean, that is kind of what Darius does. He just wins lane and maybe wins game, depending. Very impressive laner, especially against melee champions. However, Pinducky is last picking here, so we'll have to see what Pinducky decides to go with, and that's okay. I think he's trolling a bit. I don't know that a Singed pick would be great into Darius. I certainly don't expect a top lane Soraka, though. I don't think that's happening. I think we're just getting trolled here. Okay, Malphite. Okay, interesting. So this is a really strong team fighting combo with the Malphite and the Orianna. However, the lane for Malphite will be pretty rough. So actually, I'm going to start... I'll talk about team comps before I get into the individual matchups. So... let's see, we have Lucian, Elise, Janna, Orianna, Malphite on the side of teammates. That is a comp just looking to team fight. You have the initiation, very strong primary engage with the Malphite, Orianna combo. When you can execute it, that is probably one of the scariest combos in the game, though it is actually surprisingly hard to pull off from personal experience. However, that's insanely good teamfight engage, followed up with a Lucian who has a Janna shield for really strong teamfight cleanup. So I'm kind of expecting teammates to look for fights early and often, as soon as they get their ultimates. Meanwhile, with, let's see, Jinx, Sejuani, Nami, Darius, Ryze on the side of Royal Rat Authority. So the Darius is going to probably win lane pretty hard. I mean, Darius is a lane bully, and Malphite's early laning is notoriously kind of weak. I mean, the selling point of Malphite often is not his laning, but the fact that he can still have a huge teamfight impact afterwards. So, expecting a lane-dominant game there. Ryze and Jinx are hyper carries. I guess Ryze is not a hyper carry in the same way he used to be, but basically both of them, if they can get good positioning and good peel, will put out a ton of damage in a teamfight scenario. And I think that if at least one of them survives the engage from teammates, they can definitely clean up fights. You've got a lot of disengage from Nami and Sejuani, who... I mean, Sejuani actually has pretty decent peel. She has a lot of slows, and her ult is very good engage, but also really good disengage, because people tend to clump together when they're trying to run at you and engage on you, so it's a really good time to turn around and Sejuani ult from experience. So I don't know, actually both comps do have a pretty strong team fight. I think the engage is a bit stronger from teammates, but they really do have to land that Unstoppable Force Shockwave combo, or I don't see them... I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. I do think that the ultimates are going to be especially important from teammates, especially those two ultimates, and that's really going to decide the fights in this game. For those curious, the bans are actually still on the screen. The bans were Yasuo, Kindred, Kennen on the side of teammates, and Rammus, Volibear, Kayle on the side of Royal Rat Authority. Anyways, now that I'm done responding to Twitch chat, the lane matchups, so Janna Lucian is actually a really strong lane. Lucian is pretty good at bullying by himself, and with a Janna shield to back him up, when he goes for trades, he does extra damage. Jinx, on the other hand, does have longer ranged poke with her rockets, but aside from that, does not have the strongest laning phase in my experience, especially with a nerf to rockets, where... as far as I know, it's still a very clunky animation cancel, and a lot of people have complained about accidentally canceling an awful lot of rocket form autos. So, point is, Jinx not necessarily the strongest laner, though Nami does help quite a bit with that. Nami's laning is pretty strong, and her sustain is really good, and that is an Ignite that Potential 5 is running on this Nami, so looking for a bit of extra lane presence with that Summer spell choice. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Orianna and Ryze, not really sure what to expect. I don't necessarily expect the most aggressive lane on either side. I think both are champions who want to farm up in the early game, and we did see both of them take the teleport, so looking more to make map plays than just win lane outright. And I've already talked about the top lane. I kind of expect Corvus to be able to bully around Pinducky's Malphite, just because it's a favorable matchup, and also where Darius definitely really seems to fit Corvus's playstyle. He really likes carries and lane bullies and the like Renekton and Fiora and so on. Pinducky, more of a split pushing. Sorry, my tongue's getting twisted. This is what happens when you solo cast. Pinducky tends to prefer the split pushing 1v1 type champions. Kale has played a bit of Ryze, Jax in the past, Tryndamere, Master Yi. So Malphite, not necessarily his style of champion, at least so far. So we'll have to see how well he makes this work. Because I do like it from the perspective of the teamfight comp that they've set up, but I don't expect a great lane matchup. And meanwhile, in the jungle, I do expect Green Bay to have somewhat more early pressure than Lygophile. Elise has a not necessarily better speed early jungle clear, but certainly a healthier one than Sejuani, so I expect Green Bay to be able to start getting those ganks off much earlier, and that is kind of what Green Bay does anyways. Green Bay has really done a great job this tournament of keeping up in farm, actually farming better than the enemy jungler, while at the same time exerting far more jungle pressure. We'll have to see if he can do the same with Lygophile, though. Obviously, it's far from decided at this point. In any event, we are pretty close to getting loaded up into game. Fortunately, not the best team tag synergy, especially on the side of teammates. At least Royal Red Authority all have no tag. Better than like 3. I don't know. This is for all I know. Teammates is pre-made 3 with 2 solo queue people. I don't know. Anyways, enough about that. Just waiting on Cruiser to finish loading into game. Let's see if there's other stuff I want to talk about. Sorry guys, there might be a lot of awkward pauses in the casting. It's much harder to just keep a solid stream of conversation when it's just me, and I also apologize in advance for complaining incessantly about casting on my own. My casting buddies have abandoned me for plans that they made or something, some silly excuse like that. In any event, we have loaded into game, and now we are on the Rift for this first game between Royal Rat Authority and Teammates. Who will win and take a 1-0 series lead? I guess we're about to find out. I am very excited to see all of the fights that I expect coming this game, especially with the way I know I've seen Teammates play, and hopefully Royal Rat Authority likes to play. So we do see Royal Rat Authority grouping as 5 in that River Brush. Only 4 members of Teammates are actually around. I wonder if we're going to see that. Yeah, this is the invade, and the numbers advantage definitely in favor of Royal Rat Authority. 2 wards placed in that brush, and they only get to clear 1. Oh, that ward survives. Okay. Usually when you place 2 wards in the same brush, it's not that good, but I guess in this case, it does pay off. However, the early farm lead, of course, going to Royal Rat Authority, that 10 gold lead, going to make a huge difference in this game. No, I'm just kidding. It's not going to make any difference. In any event, other than a volatile Spiderling, not too much going down with that invade. And it looks like we're going to see pretty standard jungle start, with both junglers starting with their bot lane so that they get a good leash and don't lose stuff to invades. Minions have already arrived in the mid lane, and it looks like this game is really underway. Corvus getting some early bullying down onto Pinducky. Actually already popping his passive, and I think Pinducky going to take the worst of this in the long run. That's a lot of corrupting potion stacks getting popped. Yeah, Corvus really out trading already at level 1. This is what Darius does. He is such an oppressive laner. As early as level 1, he just hits Q. If he lands it on you, you've already lost the trade. It's kind of too late. And when you're a melee laner like Malphite, it's kind of hard to avoid sometimes. We do see in the bot lane Royal Rat Authority getting that first level 2, but I don't think they're going to be able to get too much off of this. That minion's going to get Cruiser and Fluffykins to that level 2. Actually, Cruiser going in pretty aggressive. Noblefire, the exhaust down from Fluffykins, and Noblefire just going to back off. Aggressive use of the exhaust there. I guess figured maybe he won't need it for the time being. In any event, I'd say advantage to Royal Rat Authority there, because they've sustained all the way back up, and that's a summoner spell down for 3 minutes for teammates. Well, we do see pretty standard jungle clear. Green Bay actually several camps ahead of Lygophile, but Lygophile is looking for that gank in the top lane. Swinging around, only places the ward, and meanwhile trading the bot lane. Cruiser pretty low, down below half HP. Hasn't popped that pot yet. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised Lygophile, though, in the top lane did not go for that gank. Cruiser dodging a bubble, nicely done. That's Lygophile coming into the mid lane. Kaleido getting ganked, forced to flash out. Meanwhile, Corvus actually getting kind of bullied by this Malphite. A bit to my surprise, Pinducky got actually a level ahead at this point and has the wave in his favor. But Corvus is going to be able to pick this up. And Pinducky is going to recall, going to pick up a couple items. I assume some armor maybe, or some HP. Probably looking for the early Sunfire Cape, and that is a health crystal and a pink ward. Nice pickups. Corvus is going to pick up a bit of a CS and experience lead off of this, unless he also recalls, though. We do see in the mid lane, Kaleido was forced to flash, and actually is about 10 CS behind, which, you know, later on doesn't matter that much, but at this point in the game is actually a pretty nice lead to have for Noblefire, and Rise not necessarily the best in the early game. Does back and get that tier, going to start getting that stacking up, and that's important for the Rise. And at some point I figure Kaleido's probably going to have to go back, is down to half HP. Meanwhile, Green Bay looking for a gank here in the top lane, but standing on a ward and is just going to recall or leave or something. Corvus thinking about recalling himself, but actually sticks around. I do expect Corvus to go back, though, at some point. Oh, Green Bay actually coming back around for the gank onto Corvus. Still holding onto the cocoon, and actually Corvus turning around with the damage, and Noblefire in the top lane with a TP. Green Bay quite low, has to flash out. Now Pinducky is the one in trouble. Corvus flashing on top of him, and Pinducky probably gonna get out. No! Noblefire and flashing forward for the Rune Prison kill, and that is first blood for Royal Rat Authority. Nicely played there. Just Noblefire and TPing way earlier than Kaleido and able to get a turnaround kill. Now Green Bay in a lot of trouble. Has to repel that Darius ultimate, but Corvus going to pick up the kill anyways, and he's going to die to turret. Oh, that was rough. But actually, Lygophile is able to pick up the Elise on the backside of that, so 2 for 1 in that dive. Meanwhile, action in the bot lane. Noblefire with the Nami firing those rockets onto Fluffykins and Cruiser, but in the end no one's actually going to die, and everyone at about half HP. However, all of the summoners, none of the summoners used actually in that bot lane trading. Meanwhile, 3-for-1 overall in that top lane tussle. Yeah, so what happened there, Green Bay came in looking for the gank, but an instant TP from Noble Fire to react, and Kaleido waited so long to teleport in. By the time Kaleido got there, so did Lygofile, and just the numbers advantage of trading had gone completely in favor of Royal Rat Authority, and oh, some action in the bot lane. Cruiser getting a lot of double taps down onto Noble Fire and Potential 5. Potential 5 completely out of mana, though so are Fluffykins and Cruiser, so not too much. Good ward, basically, spotting out both Green Bay ganks and basically nullifying that spider from getting anything done there. Potential 5 is sitting on that ward in river, and Green Bay looking for a cocoon, a cheeky cocoon onto Potential 5, and Potential 5 gets caught out and going back off at some point. Noble Fire and Cruiser both sitting on quite a bit of gold. Green Bay actually coming back down for another gank attempt, but again gets spotted out by that Scuttle Crab. Or, no, not even Scuttle Crab, just that ward in the river, not far from the Scuttle. Sorry, that my mind's scattered. Good ward, basically, spotting out both Green Bay ganks and basically nullifying that spider from getting anything done there. Potential 5 is sitting on that ward in river, and Green Bay looking for a cocoon, a cheeky cocoon onto Potential 5, and Potential 5 gets caught out and going to go down. Nice play there. Oh, and that's a TP coming in from Corvus looking to collapse onto Green Bay and company. Green Bay could be in quite a bit of trouble as this spider, and going to go down to the Darius ultimate. Meanwhile, Fluffykins gets caught up. That's the Sejuani ult, and the Rise picking up yet another kill. 2-for-1 overall to Royal Rat Authority. Nice catch onto Potential 5, but an even better turnaround with the teleport from Corvus and the collapse from Noble Fire to pick up 2 kills and going to get this first dragon, the Cloud Dragon, off the back of this. Overall, really nice turn, and just once again, quick response by Royal Rat Authority, not really looking to make plays of their own, but very quick to respond to the plays that teammates are trying to make, and Kentucky taking a lot of turret shots here. Not sure he really wanted that. In any event, as a result of 2 nice turnaround fights from Royal Rat Authority, that's a 5-2 kill lead, a dragon, yeah, they did get the dragon. Okay, we're going to have to keep track of this ourselves because, as you can see, our spectate menu doesn't really show it to us, but that is 1 Cloud Dragon, or Air Dragon, or whatever you want to call it. Everything was fine until the Fire Dragon. Anyways, no more Avatar references. 1 Cloud Dragon over to Royal Rat Authority. That's probably the worst dragon, honestly, or the least helpful one. It gives you, this one gives 15 extra out of combat move speed, which is not bad, but in comparison to the other 3 dragons, the stats are just not quite as nice. Actually, Green Bay getting really caught out in the jungle, going to go down to the bleed from Corvus. Nice invade. Lygofile and Corvus really coordinating well, and that's another pickup. More than a 2k gold lead now, and Corvus really starting to become big on this Darius. Very close to that completed cleaver, only about 200 gold off, and should really be able to start bullying on this Malphite, who hasn't actually finished. Oh my god, a double TP from Kentucky and Kaleido, going to pick up the kill onto Noble Fire, and nice play. And Cruiser going to be able to finish off the kill on Potential 5. Not a bad response there. They knew that both TPs were, well, 1 TP was down. Noble Fire did try to TP in, but too little too late. Not really able to do much about that, as both Pinducky and Kaleido TP at the same time onto the same ward to set up that nice pick onto the bot lane of Royal Rat Authority. And they are going to pick up that first turret off of this and more or less even up the gold. However, that is the Rift Herald taken in response by Corvus9 and Lygophile, and Corvus9 going to get that Rift Herald buff all the way up until about 31 minutes into this game. Or about 31 and a half, really. Yeah, and this is going to be a really difficult lane from here on for Pinducky. This Darius is already a very strong laner and already has his completed Black Cleaver as soon as he goes back for it. And now he also has the Rift Herald buff on top of that. For the next 20 minutes, he's going to be really, really difficult to deal with, because that gives him extra dual lane presence. Now Pinducky able to pick up this board, but I feel like he's going to have a tough time getting much in the top lane for the next little while, so he's going to have to look to make plays around the rest of the map, like he just did, in fact. Meanwhile, the bot lane for Royal Rat Authority is picking up those Krugs, just looking to get the farm in. This is that new trending Lucian build. I was hoping we'd get to see this. So that is the Ghost Blade for Lucian, already 201. This build, in my opinion, is quite good if you get ahead and can stay ahead. Basically, you're just going to get a Ghost Blade and Black Cleaver. You're going to have a ton of early penetration and do a heck of a lot of damage by just having weaving your abilities really nicely between attacks. That's Noble Fire and going in onto Kaleido. Kaleido in a lot of trouble. Has to flash away. That, the ultimate missing from Lygophile. Not quite missing, but not getting the stun. But that is a flash forced away for Kaleido. And now Chorus going in onto Pinducky in the top lane. Not too much going to come of that. He doesn't really have minions here, though. Ooh, that Rift Herald. That stacking buff really looks painful. So yeah, another flash forced away from Kaleido, though they weren't really able to get much with that last time around. That is an Athene's Unholy Grail for Kaleido, so that the power on that item is, it's pretty different now. So a lot less AP on that item. However, as you take damage, you stack up your Athenes, and it gives you a heal when you shield or heal an ally. Well, Kaleido does have a shield as part of his kit, and so is going to get a fair amount of healing done onto his allies. Now Green Bay in a lot of trouble with standing on a ward, is going to go down. You do not have anywhere to go to, and fails the flash over the wall and everything. Nice play. I don't really think Noble Fire needed TP in there, but a nice pick onto Green Bay just sitting on that ward, and now Corvus9 going to TP into the mid lane to keep that turret alive. That is Lygophile and Noble Fire looking for the collapse. Meanwhile, other Noble Fire hitting down on this turret. Fluffykin's the only one there to defend. Going to get a bit of damage down. Dragon's actually about to come back up in 3 seconds, and Royal Rat Authority are definitely looking for this, with 3 members right around. I mean, they aggroed it right away. That's another Cloud Dragon. Noble Fire in here as well. And honestly, teammates not really in position to do anything about this. Noble Fire actually taking a lot of damage from the culling. We'll see if they can finish this off. Pinducky coming in with the ult onto Noble Fire. Shockwave combo not landing. That is a cleanup kill onto potential 5, but now Pinducky, just survives, and that's, man, that fight was, that was a pretty close fight. Lygophile actually might escape. Yeah, Lygophile going to escape. Looks like teammates guessing wrong in terms of where they went. That was the double TP play from teammates. However, not necessarily the best Shockwave combo, and Noble Fire actually gets out. Or no, he died. I can't even remember anymore. And that's Kaleido just dead to Noble Fire, and that's kind of just what Rise does. You have to be careful about Rise. Yeah, so 2 for none. But Dragon over to Royal Rat Authority, that's their second. Wait, I think they got Dragon. It's hard to keep. Yeah, second Cloud Dragon for Royal Rat Authority. So not the worst possible result, though. Not you don't really want to trade 2 lives for Dragon. It's usually not worth it, especially because it doesn't really give gold anymore or anything. But they do have that 30 out of combat movement speed. At some point, it is actually really nice to be able to just completely out-rotate your opponents. And that fight was actually closer than it seems for a 2-for-0. Pinducky just barely living with a sliver of HP. Corvus 9 died before he could get that last auto attack off that would have gotten that kill. And this is still a very strong Dairy. So Corvus 9 actually could be in a lot of trouble. Slowed up by the Malphite. And, a really nice Q, but not enough. Crews were able to pick up that last shot onto Corvus 9. A nice pick, just too many slows from Fluffykins and Pinducky. And able to pick up that kill. And that is maybe a shutdown even. Can't really remember if he had any shutdown stacks on him. In any event, a nice pick, and that is the mid lane turret picked up. 2 turrets to 1 now in favor of teammates, and that's pretty much how they've stayed mostly even this game, given that they're pretty far behind in CS, at least in the mid lane. It's actually a 50 CS lead for Noble Firen in this mid lane, which is pretty huge. This is a very strong rise, and we did see that easy solo kill. Okay, for some reason I can't swap views. Anyways, yeah, if we look at the gold, for some reason my hotkeys weren't working. It's about 1,000 gold ahead for Noble Firen in this mid lane. Oh, actually, we have some action going on here. I'm going to stop talking. Ligophile engaging in onto Pinducky. And that's a lot of damage. 2 people hit by the shockwave combo. Pinducky going down, though. Only 1 kill over to... That's Corvus picking up 3 kills now for Royal Rat Authority. And overall, 3 for 3 actually in that fight. A messy fight. I'm a terrible shoutcaster. Sorry, guys. I am not good at play-by-play stuff. I'm just going to get that out here already. 3 for 3, kind of a messy engage. So the Malphite ult shockwave combo did land onto 2 people, but only one of the carries. Noble Firen was pretty okay. He did not get hit by that combo. Meanwhile, Corvus was huge in that fight before he went down. Picked up 2 kills with that ultimate, able to get a ton of AoE damage down. However, somehow, enough damage did get down from teammates, and they did pick up 3 kills on that fight. However, overall, well, hard to say where the advantage went. I mean, 3 for 3, no major objectives were picked up in that fight, though it does look like Noble Firen and Potential 5 are going to look for that bot lane turret. This could be a bit risky because pretty much everyone is up for teammates, and they know. And Green Bay actually rotating straight down towards them. Noble Firen actually playing the bait here. Green Bay going to face check into Potential 5, gets hit by that bubble, and now actually is just going to die. A really nice bait actually by Noble Firen. Potential 5 staying that brush, did not step out. Green Bay thought it would be just an easy 1v1 pickup onto the Jinx, and actually it was 2v1, and Green Bay just died, and actually not having the best of games right now. 0-6-4 on this Elise, has gotten caught out over and over again. It's really been the double TP plays from Clydo and Pinducky that have kept them in this game so far. So Dragon's going to be back up in about a minute. Both teams probably will be looking to get some vision there. Fluffykins did just place a ward in the Dragon Pit, but now Ligophile is headed over, going to clear the Scuttler. So no matter what happens, both teams are probably going to have vision of this Dragon area. And so far, Royal Rat Authority have shut out teammates from all of the dragons so far. That's a 3rd Cloud Dragon potentially, if they were to pick it up. I mean, that is a 3rd Cloud Dragon. That's a lot of move speed. 45 extra move speed out of combat. That's actually quite a bit. I mean, that's pretty close to the amount of move speed you get from Mobies over, like, Swifties, or something like that. It's a fair amount of out-of-combat move speed, a lot of rotational power. Though again, still, you kind of prefer the other dragons if you can get them. Dragon actually is live. Teammates posturing for a fight, but actually Royal Rat Authority just backing off of this. Noble Fire and picking up the red buff. Maybe looking to contest, but they did back pretty far off. And that's bot lane shoving completely in favor of teammates. Someone's going to have to deal with this, or that turret's going to take a big jump. Actually, Green Bay gets caught by the pull from Corvus. Huge stun from Ligophile lands onto Cruiser. Pinducky coming in with a ult, gets it onto Noble Firen. Now Pinducky getting peeled off. Nice pull by Corvus. That's a double kill. Going to come in with some more damage. 2 for none for Royal Rat Authority. Really nice peeling back in that fight. Able to peel the Malphite off of the Jinx and win that fight in a really nice engage onto 2 from the Ligophile with the max range Sejuani ult. And that is a 3rd dragon picked up here for Royal Rat Authority. And I mean, unfortunately it's 3 Cloud Dragons, but I have to say so far the team fight's going... they've been close, but going somewhat in favor of Royal Rat Authority, able to weather that really nasty Shockwave combo and just survive and peel for their Jinx, who has been carrying these fights. Well, also the Darius who's gotten all the kills, because that's what Darius does. And honestly, if they can keep doing that, if they can keep Jinx alive, the later this game gets, the more important it is, really. And the more, basically, the more crucial it is that the Jinx stays alive and is able to get a ton of damage down with those 8 Hurricane AoE rockets onto everyone. So, bit of a lull after that fight, and the dragon picked up. Not a lot of turrets picked up, surprisingly, at this point in the game. 24 minutes and only 3 turrets so far. I figure maybe if there's another fight in turrets... Oh, Ligophile getting caught by the cocoon. Takes about half his HP, but is going to be able to back off of that. I do like the Aegis picked up by Ligophile. I think that's a really nice item. There's a lot of magic damage coming in from the Orianna, Malphite, and Elise. Ooh, Noble Firen could be in a lot of trouble, and nope. Traps catch Cruiser. Now Cruiser could be the one in trouble. Corvus and Noble Firen coming in with a TP. Ligophile engaging in. Catches 2 with a Sejuani ult. Noble Firen getting the first kill. Now Green Bay is going to go down. Never mind, Green Bay going to live. Shockwave misses though, and that's Kaleido now. Forced to pop the Hourglass, but nowhere to go from there. Another 2 kills picked up. A really nice catch. Noble Firen playing the bait once again. And Cruiser just stepping onto that trap. And now Green Bay is going to be in a lot of trouble. I don't know if he's actually going to go down. Probably just going to be able to walk away from this. But very low there. And that's a turret picked up by Noble Firen and Royal Rat Authority. And all of a sudden they have a commanding gold lead. About 5,500 gold just from 2 fights, and now looking for this Baron, and they can do this. There is no vision here from Teammates. Teammates does know they are coming towards the Baron, but I think the Baron's going to go down before they can do anything. Jinx takes this super fast with Zeke's and going to get it. Pinducky ults in, misses pretty much everyone, just going to die. Noble Firen with another kill. 4, 1, and 6 now on this Jinx. That is Baron and a 5v4 power play now for Royal Rat Authority, really starting to take command of this game. Just all off the back of that really nice bait and a pair of picks for Royal Rat Authority, just making really good use of that double teleport. And you know, we've seen this whole game, the double teleport plays from both sides, and it just seems like Royal Rat Authority has done a better job of converting off of those. And, you know, when you add to the fact that that not only do they have a 7k gold lead, they also have those 3 dragons to none. This is actually a pretty sizable lead. Now Lygophile is just going to come in and steal that blue buff. That's pretty rough. Ouch. Unfortunately, it does look like we have a visual spectator bug. The hourglass on an infinite cooldown for Kaleido. Not sure what's up with that. It's another turret going down in the meantime in favor of Royal Rat Authority. This one just to minions, so unfortunately no local gold picked up there, but more map pressure, and now looking to siege onto this mid lane turret. They do have to be careful of overcommitting and setting themselves up for the Malphite Orianna engage, because even when you're 8k behind, that can do quite a bit of work. And if they can get that onto both carries, that will still destroy Royal Rat Authority's team. However, so far, Noblefire and Noblefire have done a pretty good job of positioning and making sure to stay far enough away from each other. Meanwhile, Corvus has actually pushed up this bot lane all the way, and with that Baron buff, going to be able to take that inner turret. Meanwhile, engage onto Pinducky. Green Bay now in a lot of trouble. Corvus flashing forward aggressively. Pinducky has to ult out, and that's a catch onto Cruiser. That's 1 kill already for Royal Rat Authority, and looking for more. Green Bay very low. Noblefire going to come around. That is the turret, the bottom lane inner turret going down. Now Green Bay getting pretty caught out. Going to have to run away from this, but Noblefire going to have that ultimate up pretty soon and is going to be able to chase Green Bay. Meanwhile, Cruiser coming in. Shockwave only landing onto Lygophile. Corvus going to be able to finish off this turret. Green Bay goes down. So does the mid lane inner turret. That is huge advantage, some more advantage over to Royal Rat Authority. Really, they've really just turned up the tempo in this game, getting a couple picks at a time and just taking a ton of objectives from what was about a 1k gold lead to now 11k in a really quick amount of time. Really nice snowballing here. And the next dragon is already up, and this is a water dragon. This is one of the better dragons. My understanding is it's the best one. It's the one that's going to get nerfed in the next patch. This is the dragon that gives you tons of health regen. In fact, this first water dragon gives 18 HP regen per 10% you regen 10% of your max HP every 18 seconds, which is quite a bit of sustain. 10% is nothing to be laughed at. It's even worse when you have like 3 water dragons and you get it every 6 seconds, and you can regen up to full HP in about 2 minutes, which is kind of insane. In any event, Royal Rat Authority did go back for some items, and that's probably for the best, spending that gold. Abyssal Scepter picked up for the Rise. I really like that item. It gives more MR, less AP, and at this point in the game has a bit more magic MR shred than it used to, so very strong item on this Rise. Meanwhile, oh, huge engage from Lygophile onto, hits 3 people with that Pinducky, getting the ultimate onto 2, but Noblefire has the peel, is unstoppable now. Green Bay super low. The Shockwave still available for Kaleido. Do have to be careful for Royal Rat Authority not to overstep into that Shockwave. However, another pick onto the Malphite, onto the tank. And now going to look for this bot lane turret. They have the wave. They should be able to get this. Lygophile just zoning Cruiser away. And now Noblefire getting those shots down. Kaleido probably going to go down, forced to Hourglass, and is dead. And that's a double kill for Noblefire, chasing down Cruiser. And this could be the game. They have the wave here, going to look for those Nexus turrets, and going to be able to... And that is actually the surrender coming out from teammates. So that is a 1-0 series lead for Royal Rat Authority. Just a really great job getting the fights they wanted and just snowballing a small lead into this victory. So that's a 1-0 for Royal Rat Authority, and we will be back soon with Game 2.